History often gets stripped to its bare facts, names, dates, timelines. But some of the most fascinating stories from the past start with relationships.
Well, a new exhibit opening at the MacArthur Memorial tells the story of a warrior's last days and how two battlefield enemies formed a friendship that lasted until death.
The beginnings of a high school field trip. Teens from Suffolk observe the legacy of General Douglas MacArthur. And while they peruse time-worn artifacts, what lies behind this black curtain might be a more intriguing story.
This collection is one of a kind.
And at its center, Japanese General Tomoyuki Yamashita, convicted of war crimes during World War II in the Philippines, who met his end at the gallows. And the man who led him there, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Helderman, an Army captain at the time.
6 months before these two men met, either one of them, because the war would have still been going, would not have hesitated to kill the other one.
But in the 90 days that preceded Yamashita's hanging, these two formed a bond. Yamashita, one of the most feared battlefield tacticians of the Imperial Japanese Army, loved horticulture, art, and poetry. Helderman, a man's man.
He worked as a bartender, as a car salesman. He started boxing.
Suzanne Helderman, who lives in Williamsburg, inherited her father-in-law's possessions, which included Yamashita's personal effects left to him after the general's execution. They include letters, artwork, even the piece of rope that ended his life. But how did a patriotic American Army officer befriend an enemy general of the Japanese Empire?
My father-in-law personally felt that the general was, I hate to say railroaded, but that was the term he used when he spoke to me.
There was no evidence Yamashita knew of the acts responsible for the deaths of millions, but he was convicted, and General MacArthur himself signed the death warrant. Helderman guarded Yamashita as he awaited execution.
He related to my father-in-law on their many walks around the compound where the general was incarcerated.
They are able to find common ground. They're able to meet on some level of common humanity and develop a respect and possibly even an affection.
For Captain Helderman, one last show of respect. 9 years after Yamashita's execution, when he delivered Yamashita's last letter to his widow, thus ending a story with a deep message for all time.
And we're all humans. We should always keep sight of the common ground that we can find amongst each other.
Fitting words for our polarizing times. There's an irony that we see such a strong example of common ground and respect between representatives of two bitter enemies of a world war. On WWII.com, a look at some of the rare artifacts highlighting this special relationship.